Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Gray here. Welcome back to another video. And in today's video, it's going to be the first video I've done in 2025, which is kind of crazy to think about. This will be my 11th year doing YouTube, but that's not why you clicked on this video. You clicked on this video because of the title, Compound or Lose. After making over 100 videos on the topic of personal finance, business, money, everything like that. Again, which by the way is actually pretty cool. We've hit 100 videos here on the channel. But anyway, I have now learned that compound investing is not an obvious thing to a lot of people. A lot of people, they don't understand how investing works. And then once they figure out how investing works, they don't actually understand the importance of time. So Dave Ramsey says that your most important wealth building tool is your income. I would argue it's time, because you could have a $100,000 income, but if you don't actually use that income by investing it into the market and giving it time to grow, you're not going to be worth anything. Unless you were taught this in school or you have a weird fixation on money, it's kind of hard to understand how compounding actually works and the importance of it when it comes to building wealth. So in today's video, I want to explain the power of compound growth in terms of investing and why compound interest is the thing that is actually going to build wealth for you and to keep you wealthy. Because let's be honest, it's pretty expensive to be poor. So let's go ahead and explain how investing works and how compound interest applies and how that is the biggest factor in wealth creation. So we're going to go ahead and look at 3 different examples of people of various incomes and investment strategies in different times in their life, so you can kind of get an idea of the importance of compound interest. I want to kind of talk firstly about the importance of the age in which you are starting, because the age at which you start determines how much time you actually have in the market, because at a certain point in your life, you will no longer be able to work. And you have to consider that. Unless you plan on dying at 40, which most of us don't, there's a good chance that you're going to live to be 40, 50, 60, 70, especially in America. There's a good chance you're going to make it there. And so we've got to consider, when you can't work, when your body physically cannot make you more money, and your army of dollar bills, as the money guys say, is the army of your dollar bills, they have to work for you because you no longer can. And so what does that look like for us? Well, I'll give you an example. Starting at age 35, if you invest $500 a month at a 7% interest rate, and I really quick want to pause here, because most people you'll see 8, 9, 10, 11, you'll see all these different percentages thrown out. And I kind of want to explain, 10% is the nominal rate of return. That's probably what you'll actually see on your money when you actually look at, like when your investments grow year over year, you'll end up seeing 10% coming up a lot, or somewhere around there. But 7% is the real rate of return. If 10% is nominal, 7% is real. So that's the actual buying power your money actually has to kind of account for inflation. And so, example 1, $500 a month, 7% compounded monthly, 7% annually. Your investment duration from age 35 to 65 is 30 years. And so using the future value series formula, we can kind of come up with how after 30 years, you should have a little over $500,000. Pretty good, especially for $500 a month. But I should say this, that for $584,726.30 in 30 years of growth, you actually only put in $180,000 of your own money. When I say it like that, things get interesting, right? The majority of your cash is actually coming from compound growth and not from any money you actually earned through like physically earning it. And so then that brings me to example number 2. Let's say you're smart and you start at 25, but you don't have as much money. Let's say, if you start at age 25, you invest $250 a month. But let's say you get a little bit better of a return because you're in the market for longer. Let's say you get that 10% interest rate of return. So $250 at a 10% interest rate, that gives you 40 years of compound growth. Using the same formula, 40 years, just take a guess. It's only an extra 10 years, right? $1.387587 and 4 cents to be specific, but besides the point, over 1.3 million for 10 more years. Let's get a little more interesting here, because for that extra 10 years, you actually ended up putting less money in. Because it's only $250 a month, you only end up putting $120,000 in over those 40 years, and you're getting 1.3. Why am I still making these videos? Just watch this one, and I'm gonna just start reposting it. That is crazy. The fact that the majority, over $1.1 million of growth, that you did not have to earn. It gets better. We'll go to the next one. Example number 3, you're starting at 18 years old, and all you got to do is invest $100 a month. You stop the Taco Bell runs, you stop door dashing 4 times a month, you cancel Spotify. I take that back. I'm at a new level of poor now. I cancel my Spotify. Holy crap. It's a struggle. But anyway, you cancel that Spotify subscription, and let's say because you're in the market for so long, you get a 12% return. Or sorry, not return. I need to stop saying that. You get a 12% interest rate. Fantastic numbers. After 47 years, you end up with $2,157,345.53. How much do you think you put in? I bet you won't be able to get it. $56,400 contributed. Now, when I say it like that, it's a no-brainer, right? You're gonna invest $100 a month. You spend more of that on one target run alone. I can guarantee it. So you invest consistently over time in whatever amount you can afford, $150. If you can invest $1,000 a month, I see people doing $2K. Any amount you can do is going to create astronomical wealth for you and your family. And so, compound interest is the process. I want to explain this. Compound interest is the process where interest earned on an investment is added to the principal amount, so that subsequent interest is calculated on the original principal plus the accumulated interest. Essentially, you earn interest on both the money you initially invested and the interest that has already been added. So, for example, to kind of elaborate on what compound interest is actually doing. So let's say you invest $1,000 in something, whether it's the S&P 500 or another index fund or an ETF or a mutual fund, whatever you're investing your $1,000 in, assuming it's the stock market, but this can work with anything because compound interest is just a principle. So let's say you invest $1,000, and on an annual interest rate of 5%, that means that of that $1,000, every year it would earn you $50. That math, you following my math? Okay. So in 1 year, you would have made $50. In the second year, however, it takes 5%, you earn 5% on 1,050. And so the original 1,000 plus the 50 in interest now gets the same 5%. And so that would result in $52.50. See how it's a little bit more? And so over time, this compound effect is how we get the term compound interest, which is how you build the majority of your wealth. This simplified example also does not consider the fact that you're not just going to put one amount of money in once. You're not going to put $1,000 in and just leave it for the rest of your life, because that's not what any financial advisor would tell you to do. They would tell you, put $1,000 in. Next month, put another 1,000, or however much you can financially afford to put in. The importance of compound interest in investing is, one, exponential growth. It continually goes up. There's a reason it's a curve, is it will continue to grow, and there will be a point where it is growing more than you could work. Let's say I make $50K a year. There is going to be a point where in my investments, if I'm investing consistently, that my investments will actually make $50K or more a year, to where my body, I physically, mentally, however I make my money, I cannot earn more than my army of dollar bills is making for me. So that brings me to number 2, time. Compound interest. You really start to see the most growth at the end. So what does that mean? The earlier you start investing, the better you're going to have in your returns. If you start investing at 18, and by the way, I have a video on it, check it out right here, where if you max out your Roth IRA, you could have over $6 million. Besides the point though, time factor. You need to be investing if you really want to see that growth. And the best way to be investing is as early as humanly possible. If you're 18, today, open something, find something to invest in. If it's an index fund, if it's retirement, an ETF, whatever you can find. Educate yourself, know what you're investing in. But at the end of the day, you need to be investing if you plan to be wealthy within your life. If you want to live paycheck to paycheck, go for it. I'm not going to shame you for it. It's your responsibility to build your wealth. No one's coming to save you. And then number 3, the passive growth. So you hear a lot in the YouTube space and in the internet financial space, you hear a lot of this whole passive income thing. I don't know what the heck that is, but what I do know is that if you want passive income, it really is going to be from the stock market and from investments. That's where real passive growth is actually made. So starting today, consider investing consistently. Find the thing that you understand, that you're good at, that you know, and invest in that. And you're gonna see this compound interest build over time to build wealth you can't even imagine.